I think we should probably look at a little more of the Steven Crowder stuff before we go very much more forward. There is a post that I'm not 100% on. I want to get your guys' input with right now. But you know how at the end of the Sam Cedar debate with Crowder, he started saying that he wanted Steven to take his glasses, or wanted Sam to take his glasses off because he wanted to see the Velveteen eyes. And then his co-host was like, or if you even have a soul. So there's a summation of this that was brought up by a guy named Sockdem Michael on Twitter. And I don't know if I agree with this, but we're gonna go ahead and sum it up for you guys real quick. Daryl, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an oh well. Said Steven manages to quiet everyone and get their attention. Then instead of making a point or debating anything, he requests for Sam to remove his glasses. This was really odd and confusing both Sam and Ethan, with Sam looking visibly confused. He then says to Sam, I want to see if you have the little Velveteen rabbit buttons, which adds to the confusion, because it's not really an expression. But then his co-host also mutters, or if there's a soul. It then dawned on me that the Velveteen rabbit eyes are just the shiny black half-globes, and that Crowder and his co-host are insinuating that Sam has sold his beady black eyes, a very common anti-Semitic stereotype. I had to Google to see if Sam was Jewish because I'm not racist, and you can't tell if someone's Jewish based entirely on appearance, and lo and behold, he is. So, it could be that. It could also be the fact that Velveteen eyes are also like he could also just mean like velvet, but he did say rabbit, so he is meaning the half orbs, he's meaning the half globes. I don't know if I'd call it anti-Semitic. You can call somebody soulless without saying that they're Jewish, but based on Steven's past behavior, I don't know. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. However, something that is a little more straightforward and to the point is this video right here, where Steven Crowder does his best impression of a homophobe. And by impression, I mean just himself.
I think women generally, and I mean this, don't fully understand the danger at play, particularly from gay men. They are definitely more predatory in nature as far as recruiting than women, because men are more sexually predatory in nature.
So, wait a minute. Gay men are more predatory because men are more predatory. This is one of those things where, like, you've technically avoided being called a homophobe by saying, because men are more predatory, but I don't think that that's the signal that his audience is going to get. I don't.
Yeah. I think a lot of women just think, he's just catty, and I always have, women always love having gay friends. And I mean, I've known that for a long time, and I understand you're comfortable because it's like being with a woman, but
wait, hold on. How is having a gay friend like being with a woman? How did you come to that conclusion, Crowder? How is that one the case? Because last I checked, gay men are still men, and being around them is like being around literally any other man. In fact, actually, most people who I know who are gay, or even bi, I wouldn't have known unless I was told. Is there something like necessarily feminine about gay men that I'm not aware of? This is weird.
They don't often understand the world when we're talking about sexuality that men live in. And so you don't see it nearly as hypersexualized, for example, with lesbian women to the same degree that you do with gay men.
Are you sure? Because we have all kinds of jokes about, hey, I just found my lesbian girlfriend and we're getting married next week. Like, that's a joke that's happened in lesbian communities for a while. I don't know if that necessarily lines up with what you're talking about. It seems like you're talking about promiscuity mainly, but again, I just don't see this. This seems pulled out of thin air.
No. Look, here's the issue with the homosexual community with men that I need women to understand, because often like, well, what's the harm in going to drag queen story hour? Okay.
There is no harm to going to drag queen story. Oh, I see what he's trying to do. I get it now. Men are necessarily predatory, which, by the way, is projection for Steven Crowder. That's one of those, like, oh shit, he said the quiet part out loud. But if men are necessarily predatory, and men who might not be gay but are dressing like women to get into women's spaces, are seen as less harmful, then Drag Queen Story Hour is necessarily a place where men can be predatory towards children. That's gonna be his take, right? That's gonna be how he strings that little, like, tiny line of logic along? Is that gonna be how he does it?
Okay. Any woman who has been in a sexual relationship with a man, okay? Think of all the times that the man wanted to have sex, which was pretty much always, and you said, not right now. Now remove the not right now. That's every gay couple.
What? Crowder, do you think that all men necessarily have the exact same libido? Is that the take? What? According to Steven Crowder, asexual people do not exist. Gay people with differing libidos do not exist. Every gay people must necessarily be a giant horn dog with no self-control whatsoever. That... Steven, do you think before you... No, you don't. Of course you fucking don't. I have to wonder with Steven, is it that he doesn't understand things? Or does he deliberately make a showcase of saying things that make it look like he doesn't understand them, so his audience can nod their heads stupidly and buy mugs? Which one is it?
That's why almost none are monogamous. Statistically, it's true. A very, very small percentage of gay couples are monogamous.
I don't believe that one. How many gay couples are monogamous? Polyamory is very fucking rare. Said many successful gay marriages share an open secret. Most gay couples aren't monogamous. Okay, this is from Slate. Most gay couples aren't monogamous? Okay, let's see here. Do you have stats? This is a Slate article. Do you have stats? A long Gawker story last week explored this problem in greater detail. In the fight for marriage equality, the gay rights movement put forth couples that look like straight ones together forever, loyally sharing. But what no one wants to talk about is the fact they don't necessarily represent the norm. The gay couple study out of San Francisco State University, which in following over 500 gay couples over many years, is the largest ongoing study of its kind, has found that about half of all couples have sex with someone other than their partner, with their partner knowing. Okay, that doesn't mean they're not monogamous, though. Hold on. There seems to be a misconstruing of terms. First of all, based on this study, which we're going to look at real quick, based on this study, relationship characteristics and motivations behind agreements among gay couples, differences by agreement type, and couple Sarah status. Gay men in relationships are often overlooked in HIV prevention efforts, yet may engage in sexual behaviors that increase HIV risk. And some... okay, so this is where they get a lot of their shit about, it's more likely you'll have HIV if you're a gay person. Which, again, is not the case. That has nothing to do with being gay. But... let's see, disagreements agreements across all agreement types, HIV prevention. This is about HIV prevention, specifically. Gay couples were recruited to San Francisco using active and passive recruitment strategies. These recruitment strategies have been done elsewhere. So respondents were asked to describe their current agreement via an open-ended response. Next, they were asked to categorize this response in question. Which one of the following scenarios best describe the current agreement that you and your primary partner have? Okay, let's pop down to the conclusion real quick and see what we can find here. Or discussion, rather. So nearly equal numbers reported monogamous and open agreement. Crowder! Why are you lying again? Crowder! Say it again.
Why? Because men can have unfettered sex with no emotional connection. Statistically, it's true. A very, very small percentage of gay couples are monogamous.
A very small percentage? Like half? Like half, Crowder? Half is a small percentage to you? What the actual fuck is wrong with you? Do you have a fucking I went in thinking that this was pulled out of your ass. And then I went in thinking that terminology had been misused. And then I read the fucking study and found out you just fucking lied. That's all it was. You just fucking lied. I love when people like Steven Crowder do this. You can look this up, it's true. And then we look it up and he's fucking lying. Isn't that so fucking cool? Isn't it so cool that we live in an age where we don't have to accept dipshits like Steven Crowder? Because when they say stupid fucking shit, we can look up the stupid fucking shit they say, and we find out that the whole time they've been fucking lying. Isn't it so fucking great that this is so easy to do? A monkey with his testicles tied up could do this. League of Legends, I didn't even fucking click you. Go away. Yes, honor level 4, I get it. I'm not toxic in video games. Go away. Jesus Christ. Yes, Trekkie, you missed the coward Crowder, but what you haven't missed is this. Crowder just fucking... The whole thing, you can look it up. You can look it up. What I'm saying is true, and then we look it up and find, no, you're fucking lying. Crowder. Do you brain? This thing right here, the cranium right in here. Are there brain meats in there, or is it just dicks? Do you just have giant dicks swimming around in your skull? Okay. Come on, Stevie. Let's go. Let's go out to the pasture. Here. Your dog that ran away a few years old, Yeller's been looking for you.
Why? Because men can have unfettered sex with no emotional connection, and guess what? It feels good.
Guess what? Women can do that too.
And this is why you have a hypersexualized community. This is why AIDS was exclusive to the gay community in the United States, despite how Fauci lied about it initially.
AIDS exclusive to the gay community in the United States? Let's see here. Is AIDS exclusive? Sorry, was AIDS exclusive to the gay community? We had to put in the was there. Let's see here. This is from the Human Rights Campaign. HIV is a gay or LGBT disease. Nope. Myth, I'm in a monogamous relationship, I don't worry about HIV. Monogamous people still have to worry about HIV. You can't get HIV from oral sex, blah, 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 blah. That's about HIV and treatment. Okay, so what I want to do... HIV and AIDS, an origin story. Here we go. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. When HIV first began infecting humans in the 70s, scientists were unaware of its existence. Now, more than 35 million people across the globe live with HIV/AIDS. The medical community, politicians, and support organizations have made incredible progress in the fight. Blah, 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 blah. That's fine and wonderful. I want to see its origins. I want to know the dark and sordid past of the HIV. Beginning in the early 1980s, new and unusual diagnostic patterns began to emerge in different pathways and a benign, fairly harmless cancer called sarcoma, commonly affecting the elderly, started appearing as a virulent strain in younger patients. A rare aggressive form of pneumonia began to crop up. By 1991, scientists began to connect the dots between these new diagnoses, plus a number of other opportunistic infections. By the end of the year, the first case of HIV's fully blown state, acquired immunity deficiency, was documented. I wonder, was that first case... Can I look up gay? Aha! At this point, there was no direct line connecting these infectious diseases to AIDS. It took researchers several years to fully establish a connection. The initial concern of the medical community was one of contagion, as these mystery viruses apparently spread rapidly among affected populations, beginning with a few symptoms. It was noted early on that young gay men were most likely to receive the diagnosis, but a secondary population immediately using drug abusers was quickly identified as an at-risk patient group. It would be the middle of the following year before it was suggested that HIV was either sexually transmitted or blood-borne by dirty needles. Okay, now, why does this happen? Because what's being said here is not that it was only gay men or exclusive to gay men. That's not what's being said here in the origin. What's being said is that it was more likely that gay men would get it. And would you like to know why? Transmitted blood-borne illnesses, fluid illnesses, are more likely to transmit through the anal cavity. Because there are fewer protections that the body puts there for transmitted diseases and things that go in it. For those of you who have been to a college party before, probably also know that it's easier to get drunk through your ass. Because it absorbs into your bloodstream faster. It is easier to rupture, and it is easier to absorb things through it. So, what does this mean? This means that if somebody has HIV, and you have sex with them, and you guys don't know either of you have HIV, and any type of penetration happens, then it is likely you will get HIV, but there is a higher chance you'll get it if it's anal penetration. What's one of the other reasons this happens? Well, anal sex largely does not utilize protection as often as vaginal sex, because we're told a lot of times in sex ed class, especially in abstinence-only education, that you are supposed to use a condom for birth control. People don't use it as often for STD control as they do for birth control. Now, granted, as somebody who's been part of a swinger community, who's been in BDSM communities, and who's part of the polyamorous community, there is a different view on what is to be done with condoms. They are almost exclusively used for both STD and birth control, but there are a lot of people who use them just for the birth control. As a result, there's a thought that, oh, you're having anal sex, you probably don't need to use a condom, which means that if somebody has a disease and they don't know, there's a likelihood that they will transfer it that is a lot higher if the sex being involved is anal. This is just how shit works. Now, note that in none of that has information come out that it was exclusively a gay disease. There are unique circumstances to anal sex, which, by the way, straight couples participate in just as much, that lead to its transference. Nothing in here says that gay people exclusively had it. But don't worry, Crowder. When you say dumb shit on the internet, we'll be here to look it up, as usual.
Your chance of getting AIDS right now in this country as a heterosexual, monogamous, non-drug-using male is 0%.
So, if a woman has AIDS, and you are monogamous with her, you will not get AIDS? It is impossible? You have a 0% chance, so it must be impossible, right? Right? And yeah, I know, that shit's been debunked since fucking Reagan. But you know what? Here, we'll do it again. We'll do it again. Let's see here. I'm a guy, and my partner is female. Can I get AIDS? Fuck it. Why not? A person can get HIV by having unprotected sex with any infected partner, whether that partner is a woman or a man. Unprotected anal and vaginal intercourse are higher risk than unprotected oral sex. Of course, we already knew about that. We just went over that shit earlier in the episode. Crowder, this is a 2-minute video. We have spent 19 minutes and 23 seconds debunking constant fucking lies from you. You okay? You alright? Is this the reason you don't want to debate people like Sam Cedar? Because, like, the idea that somebody might do a fucking microsecond of research gets you really hot and bothered? That's all it took to debunk Crowder. 5 seconds. That's all it ever takes.
And it's still statistically zero, even if you haven't been entirely monogamous. Let's just be clear about that. And I want...
Right, Steven. Despite the fact that we just looked up that you're wrong.
This is a message to mothers out there, because I think fathers always inherently, at least, understand what they're overly protective of young girls, generally speaking, and then they are generally speaking more aware of how they need to be protective with young boys. It's why often women don't understand how young boys are bullied.
Yeah.
Because it's very different from how young women are bullied. And so you need to understand the risk, particularly with young boys in your household, as it comes from this community. And what do I mean by this community? I mean men who have kids climb on them, show them their crotchless nylons, and do drag queen story hour.
Wait, hold on. Who is... So basically what you're saying is drag queens flouting their genitals at children, which, if that's what's happening, would be very, very bad. I agree. But, where is that happening, Steven? Where are drag queens being allowed to walk into schools and public libraries and shove their genitals in children's faces? Where is that happening? Not in any of the story hour videos I've ever seen.
It's not just fun and a little bit peppy or spicy. It's a problem, and you need to be aware of how they're marketing to your kids.
Okay, so it's a problem, but you can't hold on to a fact long enough for it to not get debunked super quickly, meaning you didn't hold on to a fact in the entire fucking time. Based on that track record, how are we supposed to take this claim? But what I want to know is there a high amount of predatory behavior that has been noted in Drag Queen Story Hour over and above what we do expect from, say, a Catholic priest or a school teacher? Because if the conversation is, well, a human could be a predator, then at that point the only conclusion we can have is, okay, never let a child meet an adult in their entire life, because they could always be a predator. There is a non-zero chance that they could be a predator. Dude, Consent Van, I don't give a shit that Crowder's making money off of this. He's going to make that money whether or not we do this anyway. And all opinions like yours do, where you say, oh, they're laughing all the way to the bank with all the extra clicks they're getting. Sam Cedar's getting extra clicks from this as well, on top of that. And also, whenever you try to bring up shit like this, all it does is create a world where people can't talk about Crowder, because that seems to be the best thing to do. And as a result, Crowder gets to do his shit unopposed the entire time. The mentality that you are espousing there pragmatically does not lead to any benefit for people in left circles. But given that, given what you've said, I don't think that that's what you're trying to do in the first place anyway. So, I guess fuck off. Anyways, Steven Crowder, debunkable in 5 seconds with a quick Google search every fucking time. Put it on a shirt, market it somewhere. I don't give a shit. With that said, I want to say I'm disappointed in CB. I want to do it. I really do. But I can't, because that would imply that I had expectations that he did not thoroughly meet. And he did. So, with that, let me know what you think in the comment section below this video when you see it on YouTube. And I would like to know what your thoughts are over on Twitch as well, if you are following me over there. Which, if you're not following me over on Twitch, you should probably do that. That said, as always, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Support the channel in the description if you would like to do so. And insert end of video tagline here.